Welcome back to Wager Talk TV. We're going to talk about legalized sports betting. It's growing quicker than anything across the country as more states keep adding on. And I'm here in studio with Las Vegas Cris. You can follow him on Twitter at Las Vegas Cris. And we've got Frank. Follow him at Vegas Synergy. Guys, you've been betting your whole lives. This is something that, I've been in the sports business since I was 17. I never thought that I would live to see, I knew it was going to happen, but I didn't know if it was going to happen in my lifetime, that we would get legalized gambling in other states. We've had how many states come on board this year? How is it changing the landscape from you guys? I mean, you guys have worked all over here in Vegas, offshore. Now we've got other states. What's your first impression of legalized gambling? Is it good for the industry or bad?
I think it's good for the industry, But I'm really proud of Las Vegas. I've been here 56 years, and at the very beginning when New Jersey got it, I think there's 20 states now, but when New Jersey got it, they were saying how they were blowing away the Vegas numbers, and Vegas is going to hammer, that New Jersey is going to hammer Vegas. But lately, Vegas is still Vegas. And you got Circa coming in, a lot sharper books. I don't care if all 48 states, because we know Utah and Hawaii is not going to do it. If all 48 states legalize it, Vegas is always going to be the leader.
Hawaii's never going to do it because they still got private books dealing minus 120 over there.
Utah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Utah.
Cris, competition is good in any form of business for the consumer. And I think, as Frank said, it did out of the gate. New Jersey, they hit the ground running. And the one thing that they did that was an advantage to them over what Vegas had to deal with over the course of time with the Nevada Control Board and everything, Gaming Commission, is they came right out of the gates with the phone apps. I mean, everybody has a phone app. And now you don't have to go to the casino, and with all of the people that they can reach in New Jersey, you're just a hop, skip, and a jump across the bridge from New York. How many guys are driving on Sunday morning just across the border and sitting in their car, this has changed the whole landscape, but competition makes you have to compete with what other people are doing, or you're going to lose market share. And I think that's where we're seeing Vegas have to adjust. What have you seen?
Oh, no, I agree 100%. Nevada has no choice but to adapt. I think they got lazy for a while. I mean, the vanilla lines are just looking at the screen and they're moving on air. They're not doing their due diligence. But now they have to. All those, glorious options that you had offshore, all these different betting options are coming to all these different betting markets, and Nevada has to stay competitive. The amazing thing is we now have 20% of the states that have legalized gambling, and the Nevada handle hasn't moved. So it's for the customer, this is just awesome. For the regular everyday bettor, it's heaven. Pig and crap.
People that never bet before. I say it all the time, and if he watches the show, he'll know I'm talking about him. But my nephew's a school teacher. He's never placed a bet in his life. Pennsylvania has it.
Yeah.
Uncle Marco, who do you like this week? But my question to you guys, and you guys are advantage players, okay? You find all the edges. That's what you're here to do. That's how you make your living. With all of the books that are coming in, are you concerned at all with some of them where it is just big corporations that all they want is those casual bettors? Because those casual bettors, there's going to be thousands and thousands of them, and they can make more money off those recreational players that don't know what they're doing, don't know where the line should be. I don't want to throw a place out there, but one of the offshore books back in the day that, their whole ad campaign was play hard, win hard, whole thing, and they made it a lifestyle, okay? And Bodog was one of the biggest offshore sports books for a long time. They dealt with one customer base. It was the casual bettor.
Deposit only.
Yeah, here in Vegas, we have sports books that we deem sharp, and we deem they're sports books that I refer to them as, the Bodogs of Las Vegas, where their clientele is more of that casual bettor. They're in, the rural areas. They deal with, neighborhoods rather than the tourists that are coming in on the strip, and then obviously the sharps that, bang the numbers. Are you worried about any of that it's going to be a detriment to the sharp players if we get more of those type of books?
I don't think so, Marco. I grew up here in Vegas, and I remember the days with Bob Martin in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Bob Martin, this was before this internet information. Bob Martin used to, before he put out the numbers, because his numbers were, gold, they were sacred, he would call up every one of his bookmaker friends in Cleveland, Philly, what are you using on the Browns, what are you using on the Eagles, and he would determine his number. He got it down to such a point that he would have guys just flying in on the airport with all of the country, all the newspapers around the country. That's how you had to get it back then. Mm-hmm. And his number was gold. Everybody used it. Now with this information, I don't think so. I think there's too much. People are getting too sharp, and there's too much info that these little regional places can have their own skewed little numbers, like have the Browns up 2 points higher than they should be, or the Eagles a point. That's not going to happen with this information.
Yeah, but when you had the Oregon bowl game, I'm sure you saw it, they were dealing in Oregon -1 when they were +2.5 here.
Right.
So I do know for a fact that these books will do some regionalized line betting, and there will be those opportunities available. The real problem you had for the advantage player is everything's going to go to algorithms. And that's the way it is with soccer, and almost, you wouldn't believe the volume that is just automatically bet by bots, based on, and this is what's going to happen here eventually. And it will dry up for the advantage player, although sharp shops can use solid players, use their information. They can lower their limits, they can use the information, and usually they're on the opposite sides of things, and it helps the shop if they have sharps, evening out things.
Going to the bias of regional, to me, if they do that, it's going to create a throwback to yesteryear when you had betting groups where,
Yeah.
we know that the books in Pittsburgh, when you had the guy on the corner is going to have the Steelers a point higher than every place else. Well, if you're going to bet against the Steelers, you went to Pittsburgh to do it.
Right.
You're going to have that possibility if it happens, especially with places like Mississippi and stuff like that. I think you'll see the regional bias. You mentioned one of the greatest bookmakers of all time, Bob Martin. As good as Bob Martin was, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the day, okay, Stardust was the first place that brought the line out. I mean, that was the place. And if I told you all the trips that I made to Vegas over the years, every trip, my souvenir that I took back was some kind of Stardust logo thing. I had, back in the day, I had as many tracksuits as Johnny Detroit, okay? But the situation is, remember, as good as sharp as he was, he had the Sunday Night Outlaw line where the first numbers weren't to the public. He let that first number go to sharp bettors that he respected, in addition to how sharp he was. And he was one of the sharpest minds in the industry, but he still wanted the sharps to attack his numbers, and he would let them do that. And that's my biggest pet peeve with throwing sharp players out of books. Why do that? If you want to put a limit on them, I agree with that. If you want to set a limit, do that.
Use them.
It's a win-win for you and that guy. You're letting that guy have an opportunity at a first swing at a number because he's sharp.
Yeah.
But because he's sharp and you give him that first number, he's correcting your mistake.
Oh, and it's peanuts.
correct.
It's chicken feed on the whole handle they're going to have
correct.
on the game.
That's right. But what I mean is like some of the games that we're talking about, even when Bob used to call up all his bookmaker friends around every city in the country, was your, throughout the week college basketball games. Now you don't have that line like on Sunday for the NFL games. You got to call a guy like Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Hey, buddy, what are you using on Boston College? Is everybody healthy? Everybody okay? And then
353 teams to keep track of right now, and growing.
Don't you remember the payphones outside the Stardust?
Oh, my God.
I mean, sometimes the people would say like, boy, look at how much they're making on the slot machines. I said, I'll take the 3 payphones. I mean, you know what I mean?
And do you understand that millennials now, their kids will never know what a payphone is? No. They're not going to know what a payphone was.
But
what was that?
But how about this, Marco? I was looking yesterday on YouTube with Frank Abagnale, the guy with Catch Me If You Can and everything. He thinks that within 5 years, there's not even going to be passwords anymore. We're not even going to need passwords for nothing. So, I mean, all the kids that are using, imagine 15 years from now, you start telling a kid about a password, he's not going to know what you're talking about.
Use the thumbprint on your iPhone. Get in.
Right.
Hey, guys. Great. Anything last you want to add, Chris, before we head out?
You were going to mention something on offshores entering.
Oh, yeah. Now, this is what I think about all of the legalized gaming throughout the country. I think what might be a thing is, let's say a William Hill or FanDuel or one of the big ones, they might spread like an Amazon for this sports gambling. Like if William Hill, once they get into 8 states, 9 states, they have all the regulatory stuff in place, they can go through every state. Next thing you know, you're going to get big players that are going to dominate the U.S. market.
How many, in the next 5 years, how many more states, what would you put the number at that you think that we would?
by the
I
end
know.
of this
I
year-
know that everybody's frosting at the mouth for California. So, and I know that that's a cluster mess.
Well, by the end of this year, there's already going to be over 20. So 5 years, I'd say the over and under 38 and a half.
And I think what's going to be really cool, like as you mentioned, heaven to you that we actually have legalized gambling. Imagine Pinnacle, Cris, these other offshores, they will apply and they will get in some way, somehow. Every state is going to have different regulations. And as I'm going to borrow your comment because you didn't use it, you don't know whether some hillbilly in some cities running the sports book or not.
Yeah, I mean, like let's say once it goes to West Virginia, with your regulatory issues, are you going to have like some moonshiners? I mean, they got to do their due diligence. But Marco, one thing I would like to say, if the states are all listening, if you're going to legalize it and you're going to do it, don't play around. Do it. Don't make it seem like they used to did the casinos in Mississippi. Like, we're going to legalize gambling, but you got to be on the water. If you're going to do it, do it. You know what I mean? Make the money and do it right.
Great stuff as always, guys. Hey, every Monday at Wager Talk, and Sports Memo, you can get all daily packages for just $9. That's right, each and every Monday, and that includes any play, even 5% plays, normally priced at $40. Check it out each and every Monday at wagertalk.com and Sports Memo. We'll be back with more here at Wager Talk TV.